As I was saying when Harstem was with us, I really feel like the Pros matchups have changed the most. In PvZ especially, because, you know, in PvT, the stuff like the Liberators have a bit less range and stuff like that as well, but I really feel like that's not super apparent, as much as obviously the Charge upgrade being different, the Glaives upgrade being different, but also, you know, Zergs, the Lurkers are different, they have less range but can go up to higher range. On the other side of things, you have the Broodlords have less range as well. There's just all of those changes to keep in place, and of course, this is the matchup where we're most likely to see some kind of usage of the Infestor towards Microbial Shroud. So it'll be interesting to see what comes of that if we get to that stage, as we go into Ephemeron for game number 1. In the top left-hand side, our blue Zerg player is Denver. And the bottom right, our red Protoss Harstem, as we kick off into game number 1 of this best of 3. Have Zergs been going for a Lurker late game on this map, on this patch? We've seen more Lurker plays. Whether you could call it Lurker late game is a bit of a different question, I suppose. Is it the new patch? Yes, this is the new patch, and Harstem is going to open up with a cannon rush. Of course he is. Well, at least he's going into Forge, so interesting. But yes, this is a new balance test patch. We're probably going to do mostly just balance test patches from here on out. It's kind of the plan. So yeah, that's kind of our rough idea of what we're going to be doing in the future now. So it is just test mod. I mean, it's not officially the new patch, but it is what the new patch will look like, right? So it's the balanced test mod. This was a second probe, so sneaking all the way around is able to get a cannon down, and Denver is none the wiser, even still as this drone comes in. Now he's going to see 2 cannons. Now he's going to see a little bit of what's going on. So a third cannon on the way up as well. Harstem is very serious about getting rid of this hatchery real quickly here early in this game. He has a cyber core already, by the way. So switching up in towards a robot facility as a follow-up is absolutely a possibility. As a couple of lings will pop out, and they will start heading out over, through the top side of the map here. And you do have the couple of cannons just working their way through this hatchery. So hatchery doing a little bit of damage here. It's going to be seeing the hatch probably going to go down. An Adept to follow this up, so he's not going to proxy any further buildings or anything like that. It is just the Adept at home into a Nexus, so it's a little bit of cannon pressure, but you've always got to think about the commitment to this, right? This is a 300 mineral hatchery at the cost of 450 minerals of cannons and the pylon, and he had to send a second probe across the map to set this up. So we're talking about 550 minerals plus, did he lose one of the probes? No, he just sent it home. So 550 minerals plus an extra probe of mining time lost is quite significant just to kill a hatch. Now obviously it's more than just a hatchery kill, because now this hatchery is quite delayed as well. At some stage you do have to trade out against these cannons in the pylon as well. So it's not terrible just yet for Denver. It depends if he can keep this hatchery. You can see Harstem here, he didn't want to commit into more cannons. He knows for a fact that if he builds more cannons here, he is in trouble at home. As you have Legends moving through into the center of the map. I'm gonna pick up a probe. Let's continue down here. Gonna have a couple of Adepts coming in together to chase those Zerglings away, so Zerglings will get turned around. The lag came up from Denver, and obviously one of the opportunities then becomes the Nidus network, so he is going to try and Nidus in towards this main base in the next couple moments. Stalker from Harstem peeling off towards his left-hand side. The Overlord will take a chance just to move back a little bit. And those Lingers start to arrive at the front. First couple of Adepts will begin to deal some damage. Obviously this is pretty much a guaranteed just wall off and shade behind that wall off, because there's no way the Adepts are going to hold that position forever. Stalker of Harstem drawn in the main, going to see him. Nidus in the back of the natural, so that's why he's going to put that. It's going to get a little bit tough now. The Oracle can come in. The Oracle will do a lot of damage against this. Doesn't care about the armor of that building. And there's not going to be anything to get out of here. I think if he had a Queen in there, which I imagine he would have had a Queen in there. Yeah, if he had a transfusion, you need an extra second to make that work out. Next Nidus in the main base then. A couple of Adept, Stalker, and the Probes are going to pull in to deal with this one. They're a little late to get here, but it should still be okay. The Queen gets out, and I didn't have the energy for transfusion anyway, so this is not really working out for Denver at the moment. And as now we go back to the natural expansion probes surrounding this Nidus. And that's going to go down as well. I mean, maybe you actually get a few units out here, but again, if there's no transfusion, it's just going to be a handful of Zerglings, and they're never really going to be that successful. Denver is not giving it up just yet, but the Void Ray built from Harstem means he's killed off the Overlord for vision in the main. It means he can kill this Overlord to get rid of vision in the natural. And now what does Denver do? He's building a couple of Overlords and a drone, but he's down 16 workers, make that more because he has to build Spore Crawlers against the Oracle, against the Void Ray, which can now get aggressive because they're not needed defensively any longer. And well, yeah, it's not exactly a pretty scenario for Denver in any way, shape, or form. Pass them up towards the third bases. A couple of Adept Stalkers gonna sit out here, take down that pylon, and Robot Facility gonna drop into the natural. Oracle and a Void Ray. 2 Oracles and a Void Ray back out into the center here, and just gonna be seeing Denver still just hanging around with those Zerglings, wanting to kind of get into the action. You're going to come in and fight that Spore Crawler, interestingly enough, with the Void Ray. Yes, the Oracles will turn on its tune. The Void Ray will give itself up to get rid of the Spore, which kind of makes sense, right? I mean, in a way, it makes sense from the start because the Void Ray can prismatically align onto the Spore Crawler to get a lot of damage done, more so than it would do on the Queen. And then if you can get rid of that Spore, boom, you know, he kills 7 or 8 drones, and well, he's still killing drones here. This is obviously a crazy amount of damage. But it just completely opens up this third base, and you might be like, well, it cost him a Void Ray. What does a Void Ray do at this stage of the game anyways? The Void Ray was purely built to clean out Overlord number 1 and 2, get rid of the Nidus potential, and once that's done, this Void Ray is nowhere near as valuable as killing off a Queen and multiple. That has nothing to do with WCS 3.0. The drone kill counter is actually the WCS Game Heart mod, which you can't enable because we've got the balanced test mod enabled, so you can only have one mod at a time. And the WCS Game Heart is also not on means we also can't select skins for players. We can't do it because we've got the balanced test mod enabled for these games. So yeah, stuff like the drone kill counter and the upgrade timers, that's actually all a mod. That's actually not part of the overlay. As crazy as that seems. That's I guess that's something that not a lot of people know about, really. Like, why would you know, right? It's not intuitive, right? Because it makes sense that if you have this overlay or the WCS overlay that you get the the workers killed too and stuff. It's crazy. It's the same as these graphs. The how do I bring up the graphs? Oh, I can't bring up the graphs because, yeah, of course, I'm so stupid. I'm trying to bring up the graphs, but of course you can't bring up the graphs because the graphs don't exist because of the lack of WCS Game Heart mod. So the graphs are also stuck in the Game Heart mod and not in the overlays, which is a shame. So yeah. Harstem bottom right, our blue Protoss player is up by 1. And we're looking to make it maybe a PvT winners match. As EVP losers match, as Denver, if he drops down, will play against Geralt in the lower match. As here on Acropolis, we'll not see an early cannon attack. We will just see the probe going across the scout pretty late on post-Nexus, so not looking to block the early hatchery or anything along those lines. It's just kind of happy to just sort of move this along slowly and see where we get to. A couple Queens and 4 Zerglings on the way out, getting set up to go. Fingers crossed for Structures next war chest. I feel like there's no way they don't do a Structures war chest, right? They've done so many unit war chests in a row. I feel like it makes sense to do Structures. Make a lot of sense, really. So you see Stargate is on the way from Harstem, so that is building up here. The Nexus is about to complete. And that's Zergling speed starting up on the spawn pool of the third hatchery on its way down on this left-hand side. So getting that 3 base set up, ready to go. and this initial Adept starting to shade its way to the upper left-hand side, so making its way towards that natural expansion here in the next few rounds. That will shade on by up towards the main, but we'll just cancel. Just double checking what's going on here early in Harstem. Trying to apply a little bit of pressure as the first Phoenix of the game comes out. So the first unit from that Stargate is the Phoenix, and a pretty fast Robo as a follow-up. This could be just a one Phoenix, clear out the Overlords, no Oracles, into a very aggressive kind of Immortal-based timing attack. Just because it's that Phoenix first, especially, and the Robo then comes so soon afterwards. However, the Robo was built in range of the Overlords, so it looks like we will just see an Oracle. There's obviously not going to be a crazy number of Oracles, it's not going to be 3 Oracles or anything. It still is a pretty fast Robo facility as the Adepts will be surrounded by Zerglings here, not quite walled off properly, and that is a real shame. Loses 2 Adepts for 3. And now he's going to have to use the Oracle defensively, and that's obviously a huge loss because now that energy is going to be used up. He's going to be in a much worse position than he should be. Okay, he doesn't lose much more, but losing the Adepts, having to use this Oracle defensively, well, that's not how he wanted this to go. We'll start a second Oracle. I imagine that will be his limit when it comes to the Stargate production. He is going to be seeing an extra gateway drop down in the main. Overlord hanging out. Down on the bottom side is our Nidus network will start up from Denver behind the natural, so getting that ready to go. Spore Crawlers about to finish up this mineral line too. 2 Oracles and a Phoenix heading out through the center of the map and towards the top side. A bunch more Lings, a couple of Queens on the way, 3 extra gateways dropping into play now. And Immortal just Chrono boosted on the Robo facility, an extra gateway dropping. Let's see what these Oracles can do. The Phoenix eventually does lift up the Queen, but took a little while, but the Oracle is to the right, so while the Oracles have to go left, they do get out of Spore range eventually. Is Overlord speed increase? Nope, just not even Nimitaz's Carapace in play actually, as Denver, by the way, is just going to go Link Queen Nidus. We saw the Nidus coming up. So it's just going to be Lings and Queens with that in Harstem. I mean, he sees it. He knows it's there. Doesn't move his units towards it very quickly, though. Recalls the Oracles, and recalls the Warpers. I thought he might have recalled the Oracles, but they'll just fly home. He's actually he needs to be careful, because if he loses that pylon, he's actually in a lot of trouble, and I think just not knowing about this coming is going to hurt Harstem rather a lot. A couple of sentries will get saved. The Oracles, what can they do? I mean, they basically need to clean up just a lot of Lings. This pylon here going down is huge because, boom, 4 gateways unpowered instantly. That hurts so much. Queen, one of them will go down. One of the Oracles falls as well, though. Now the Oracle's kind of out of energy, so that's just supply. That won't really help too much. A couple of Zealots on the low ground to try and help fight this off. As the Lings are having a pretty good time there. This Oracle gets a bit of energy to help out in a Immortal pop, so there should be a defense on the Lings down there now. The War Prism is here to try and save the day when it comes to these units up on this high ground, but he doesn't save the sentries. Harstem, for whatever reason, focusing elsewhere at that moment in time. Just keeping the probes count alive though, right? Still 38 workers in this, and that's very important to take note of as well. He's still got 3 gateways up and running, by the way, so he still has a decent amount of warping potential, especially considering he's obviously not mining properly because of all of the aggression that's forcing probes off mineral lines. I think Denver's just going to get a bit too much momentum though. Right now this main base is pretty much going to drop. He drops another Nidus, by the way, which feels not really necessary. He's building spines as well. There's just too much from Denver eventually here. I know there's 3 Immortals, but 2 of them are already very low. Barriers on cooldown as well. Like, these Immortals can do a lot, but there's only so much they can realistically do in this scenario, especially against Lings, right? There's just going to take so many Immortal shots to really do anything properly here. And again, they can be saved by the War Prism for a certain amount of time, but not forever. And that's going to be dead. 3 of this series. In the bottom right-hand side, our blue Zerg player is Denver, taking on the red Protoss. On the top left-hand side, Harstem. Yes, the game is already a minute in. We do this crazy thing where, because nothing happens in the first minute of the game, we let the players get the game started, and we join in just a few seconds later because, well, we have to run ads, otherwise we can't afford to run these tournaments. you know, don't know what to tell you guys. I mean, just, you know, yeah, it just makes sense. Did we miss anything? Yes, we missed this Overlord leaving the base. Usually if we do this, I pay good attention to the builds and let you guys know exactly what happened in case something interesting happened, but the fact of the matter is it didn't here. It's just a hatch gas pool against a gate nexus core. Lurker and nexus. Lurker and gates, etc. Did you have this probe running around in this main down to the natural? Nation War starts again soon. Yeah, Nation War starts again tomorrow. It's kind of crazy. I don't know what I'm gonna do this week because I've been kind of ill, so scheduling stuff has not been great. I kind of wanted to run a Korean event, but I've just not been able to. I've not had the energy to really bring myself to organize anything, so I don't actually know what I'm gonna do on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday this week, Sunday. Maybe we'll try and do a Korean event Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then we'll do a tournament on Sunday as well. Problem is, I talked about this a little bit last night with someone, but it's really difficult because it feels like there's just no external events at the moment. So it feels like there's not really anything to cast outside of stuff I run myself. And that just gets so expensive so quickly. Like, I can't afford to just, pay to run an event every single day. So it's a little bit tough. I'm trying to figure out what to do about that. So, fingers crossed we can just find ourselves a solution. Feelings are going to head to the upper left. Depth here is shading on by. There's a Stalker able to get a few extra shots off as well, so a few extra shots going down and just going to be seeing this pylon to the side of the base. The Lings pressing forwards are going to go and apply some pressure. Harstem is coming down the left, and those Lings will get chased off from here. 8 drones on the way up. Again, 8 drones up. That goes down in Spore Crawler as well, by the way. So again, the Spore Crawler up and ready to go. So everyone's pressing forwards a little bit too. That Oracle about to pop out, so Oracle will be popping in a moment. So 2 Oracles together. I'm going to try and press forwards here, and already a few Zerglings just moving in and out to see what is going on. The Xenotized Carapace is going to be the choice from Denver. He'll get some scanning capability, and the trio of Frost building this Twilight Forge Robo all on the way to step into the next stage of this game. He will be able to kill that Group Tumor, which is nice. That'll be about it for these 2 Oracles initially. Takes a bit of damage on one even. So for the moment, has to back away. Could do some show matches, it might be cheaper. The thing with show matches, I feel like I've never been excited about show matches. The problem is it's very hard to make like show matches last for like 4 hours without it costing more, right? So it's kind of tough in that regard. I don't know, I feel like I'm just complaining. I should just come off my bum and make something happen. It's definitely possible. But maybe we could do like a 2-week Korean event. But it's Home Story Cup next week. That's why I wasn't doing it. I don't want to run anything that starts one side of Home Story Cup and ends the other side. Yeah, that's why. I remember my own reasoning now. Yeah. Well, charge on the way up. Gonna see +1 attack on the way in. Immortal on the way out of the Robo facility. And 4 gates currently just building. It's gonna be a lot of gateways, but obviously we're on 3 bases, so we're at that stage where we're hitting the economy to get up to all those bases. And as Denver just plays in towards a Roach style, it's gonna be nice to see a proper little bit of mid-game here this time around. Into the main, just gonna be setting up there as a couple of gateways already start to build. Oracle flies out over the left-hand side. Observer keeping track of what's going on in the main as well. This is really nice if you can keep it alive for Harstem, because it does give you a lot of information about what's being built. It gives you a little bit of info in case you ever see a hive starting up, if it stays there that long. So it does give you a few little different pieces of info. And of course, you're very close to being able to move around and maybe scout for something like a Spire being built, but that's not going to happen here. Hydro Den is going to be the choice, and we're just going to go in towards a Roach Hydra style, which probably means a Lurker den behind it as well, and Denver's probably going to show us a little bit of these new Lurkers once again. If you look at Harstem, he's just got that charge upgrade, so we do know that those Zealots are going to be really quick when they run around. Let's see, they're actually crazy. You know what? Pros players are going to have to be so careful to make sure they keep their Zealots in with the main army. Because I actually think that's going to be a problem, right? Like, making sure your Zealots don't run too far ahead of your army. You're going to have to babysit those a little bit. Do you see the couple of sentries here actually coming in with the 4 prism? A couple of force fields drops down. It wasn't perfect force fields, though. And because of that, the roaches do still manage to slide away. What's new with the Lurkers, they have 1 less range, but they have an upgrade on the Hive Tech, which gives them +2 range. So overall, later game, they have higher range. It's just a bit of an improvement. It just makes them a little bit weaker mid-game, a little bit better later game. Which is nice because they were a very good mid-game unit before. And I feel like taking away a bit of that power mid-game is not a bad thing. So then give them a bit more strength late game. I feel like it's a good target for the change. I like it. All those Zealots, it's actually crazy how fast they are. They're able to chase down these roaches off of creep. It's actually crazy. They're so fast. Man, it's actually ridiculous. Roaches and Ravagers here from Denver, going to be moving up this ramp and looking to stay aggressive on 70 workers. Obviously moving in towards the Lurkers here and, you know, Hydras, etc. Do you see Storm on the way up from Harstem? So he's getting all of the correct tools to really deal with what Denver is doing at the moment. Roaches and Ravagers spreading out a little bit. The High Templar going to drop a Storm and the Roach Ravager gets pushed away. Question in the chat, are there any key changes? There's a lot of changes. Charge is very different. Glaives is very different. Brutals have less range. Liberators have different range. Lurkers have different range. Mothership can't be neural anymore. That's a nice little dive for a High Templar. Good response from Harstem with the force fields. That Storm initially was nice as well. You see an arc on there, but he gets a good amount of Roach Ravager. I feel like Harstem's quite happy with these trades at the moment. As he starts up the Fleet Beacon, he will start to tech up. Especially as he plays against more and more Lurkers, it gets to a very important stage where he's probably going to need maybe a Tempest or 2 to help keep him out with that. The Adept change in the Battlecruiser. I don't even think the Battlecruiser change is that crazy. Like, I feel like the 1 second teleportation time, yeah, obviously it changes things a little bit, but I don't think it changes things too much. Solid out in the center as we do see the Prism from Harstem off over to the right. 13 more Hydras on the way up as the Organs coming in. Infestation Pit about to complete. You do see Lurkers will burrow up. Which gets picked off and Zombie Denver making a little bit of a dive towards this Nexus. Picks up a High Temple there. Meanwhile, this Phoenix is chasing down Denver's Overlord, so Overlord will fall. It just feels like so far Harstem's defended well, but obviously it's a new threat on the map now with these Lurkers in play. So it's something new for Harstem to think about and worry about. But he does have the tools to deal with them. He has a good Immortal count. He has Storms to help soften them up, especially those Hydras as well. To get those with Storms, that'd be huge, and that's a good first Storm. Second Storm not so much, hits one single Lurker. Harstem is kind of down this ramp and looking to push up here rather than push through these slow zones, so it's the right sort of position. High Templar's on this top side as well, so he's actually positioned pretty well on both sides to make sure he doesn't lose too much and he's not caught out. So I'm heading towards that Mothership, so if you can get that up, that would be nice because there's no Overseer in this army at the moment. Still defending well up on the top side. A couple of Zealots on the bottom, but multiple Spine Crawlers in that wall-off will just stop anything significant happening. You know, if Harstem can get around this top side and flank these Lurkers from the right and the left, I mean, that could be a big fight for him, but it is risky because then you're very committed to the fight as well. Harstem's actually, well, he's got the Observer here, so he's going to move forwards. He sees the opportunity, And he will grab one of these lurkers, misses the force field to grab a second. Well, Denver picked a good time to back away, I feel. The thing is now, Denver is not really teching up. You know, Harstem starts this observer in the main, still sees, okay, now he sees the hive starting, right? So, now the hive gets going, but that means it's a little while until those lurkers get their extra tier range. It's a little while until extra things like Vipers and stuff come out. And especially now Harstem's already building in towards carriers. You know, he's getting into a very good late game army that Denver has to find a response to. So Denver needs to find an answer to those carriers soon. I mean, for the moment, Hydras will do the job. Once you get beyond about 4 or 5 carriers, that's when those Hydras are just not going to kill Interceptors fast enough any longer. So, at the moment, still putting on some good pressure. Gets into this position, which is a really good concave position, which means his Hydras can really just spread out, be very safe against the Storm. You can see this army trying to come in from the top side as well, but Harstem starts to be so careful. Does not really want to be caught mid kind of, you know, inhibitor zone or anything like that. These Hydras are pushing in. A couple of High Templar went down without actually dropping Storms there, and now, well, still needs to kind of come in to clean this out. You can see the Interceptors from one carrier just don't really last very long at all. The Immortals on the back side are just picking their way through Lurkers. There's not really enough Lurkers there to take this down. And here comes the Mothership showing up, so actually the cloaking is huge right now, especially because, as we mentioned, there is no current Overseers to detect, so this catches maybe Denver a bit off guard, and he doesn't have any way to see this army, as the Zards still try and chase down a couple of Lurkers to get one more. So only a couple of Lurkers remain on the map. There it is, Microbial Shroud being upgraded for the first time, so Denver's going to commit to that upgrade and try and make this work to help out his army against those carriers. That means Infestors obviously will start soon. Adaptive Talent's the first upgrade he commits into on the Lurker Den. So that's the burrow and movement speed change. And after that, it'll be the seismic spines, which is the actual range upgrade. So slowly getting there with the upgrades for the Lurkers. Yeah, this one is Microbial Shroud. So what this does, it's an ability on the Infestor. It replaces infested Terrans. It reduces damage taken from air units by 50%. So it casts like a little shroud, a little area, and you kind of take less damage from air units. So we'll see how that works out. Denver will pause the game. Give us a moment or two to prepare ourselves for next little stage of this. Denver says go, go. If Harstem says go, go as well, we can count down and click the pause button to resume the game. Lang's gonna run up here, grab a probe, gonna get this Nexus as well. Nexus will be cancelled. Also has a couple of Phoenix up. I think he built those just in case of the potential of a Mutalisk, which there never really came. There's the Seismic Spine, so that's the +2 range upgrade for the Lurkers, so that's the other new upgrade for Zergs. That coming into place, so kind of as we expected. Those upgrades coming online, let's see how it works out. Not a ton of air units just yet, so we'll see how impactful Microbial Shroud is. Oh my god, the Lurkers just kind of ran into this here for a moment or two. That's a yoink on the Mothership, sadly being heroic. This is what's really done, right? The Mothership's heroic, but it can still be yoinked by an Viper. Like, I feel like if you're going to make it not neuropyrocytable, why is it still yoinkable, you know? So it's going to be seeing the hatchery on the right side will go down. On the top, a 5th base trying to come up from Harstem, trying to get that established. This little army over here is backed into a corner. I think he wants to try a recall out of here. I mean, he's out of position of the Lurkers at the moment. He's going to lose a couple of units, though. He lost, what, 1, 2 Archons? I feel like Denver moved commanded in a bit further than he needed to there. Probably could have got an extra Immortal. And the carriers are just regenerating their interceptors out over to the left-hand side. The Mothership will build. Just keep it out of Viper range. It's so slow. They shouldn't build one. Then it'll never be in Viper range. 200 IQ. Can't get your mothership abducted if you don't have a mothership. Aha. And these High Templar kind of out on their own. In a way, almost baited those Zerglings, but was still dangerous, right? Lost all the shields. If there's a few Maulings, that would have been some dead High Templar. And so these interceptors pressing forwards, and well, his Hydras on their own just aren't getting the job done. A couple of extra Infestors on the way back to the left. Look at this, by the way, just random Phoenix just tagging a Viper a little bit, getting some damage done to it. Lurker's harassing on the top side as well is obviously a frustration because you need to actually get the detection over there to be able to deal with this as well. So it's not just a guarantee, that's a duct on a carrier, which will go down. The Microbial Shroud here protecting those Hydras, and you know the Hydras, they don't kind of just melt at least, so it's something. And again, these Lurkers do get chased down. That's the issue with this Lurker attack. It's really nice, but it's also very expensive, right? 4 Lurkers is not the kind of unit you can just throw away for nothing. So there is a big difference there as we have Hydras of Denver. Up towards the top side of the map. Interceptors pressing on in, just going to be seeing them going after this hatchery, which is taking a lot of damage. Hatchery will go down. This drone's going to be chased and picked off as well, so a really good amount of damage in here. A lot of drones cleaned out, and well, Mothership's still overhead at the same time. I mean, there's just nothing to fight these carriers at home. You know, Denver's basically all in with this push across the map. But, I mean, he's not really doing... I mean, he gets the base, don't get me wrong, but obviously, is he doing enough to make up for this? Not really. He knows it as well. He's going to type out of the game.